Hey, what's up everybody? Rob here from Ram Studio Comics. So in today's video, I want to share my process of inking over a rough sketch and talk a little bit about that with you. So what sparked this one is, well, really speed. I'm always trying to get faster at this type of artwork. What's funny about drawing in the app Procreate is it gives you a canvas statistics area, and it shows you how long these take. Not only does it give you the time lapse that you're seeing here, it'll tell you, hey, this particular piece took me 12.5 hours, or 12 hours 42 minutes to be exact. It tells you right down to the minute. And so that was to pencil, ink, and color it. So, and that's even with me jumping the gun a bit. So you can see here, I went from a blue line and I already start inking. I was originally going to do the black suit, and then I changed my mind, as I often do through the middle of my work. But I was kind of struggling with that area to see how long it was taking to do the arm. And then I jumped to saying, let me break this down a bit more. Let me do just the line weight, get a feeling for that line weight. And you see it's moving a lot faster through Spidey now. And then placing some shapes of shadows. So sometimes just a good choice is to itemize the work, really segment what you're doing into specific tasks and moving through the whole piece. So I think that helped a little bit with this. But a big part of this is I had to forego my natural habit of wanting to see the art more refined. So typically I would draw the pencils, I would refine them multiple times, maybe 2-3 times, and then I would move to ink. But I was noticing some of these pieces were taking me especially with a lot of characters, like I did an Avengers piece, it was well over 20 something hours. It's just ridiculous. By the time it was penciled, inked, and colored, but still that's just way too long. I don't work professionally for Marvel or DC, but I can only imagine, them saying that, hey dude, that's just not cutting it. You got to be way faster. I can only imagine how fast these comic artists that work on a monthly title really are. So even at this one taking 12 and 3/4 hours, it's probably just too darn long, right? It's not quick enough. So, but what I'm trying to do is bridge this gap, figure out where I can save time. And this is a good technique for that. So I remember watching a video of Todd McFarlane working on a piece, and he was already inking with the crow quill over some what looked like some light blue lines, and it could have been loss of quality in the video where I couldn't really see the detail, but it looked like there wasn't much detail. Like he was kind of jumping some steps, right, and going right to ink. So, and I've heard of other artists doing this, and you see other artists that just go right to ink, right? They work right off a blank white canvas, which is just amazing. So I'm trying to get a little bit better at that kind of approach. I don't think I nailed it here, but I was able to at least get to an end result a little bit quicker than I normally would have. I waste some time trying to crosshatch these stupid clouds or smoke from the chimney, and then I ultimately just think, you know what, I'm going to color it. I don't really need all that crosshatching, and I just deleted it. So that was a huge waste of time. But and sometimes I guess you're going to do that. I do that where I try something out and I try to redraw it a few times when really I should just move on. So I think that's another part when you get better at visualizing your artwork, you tend to see that those habits, those things that aren't going to work sooner rather than later. And then with the background, I really had to throw in a rough sketch of it and then go right to ink. And I think that I really enjoyed this part. Now, obviously, this is a very basic background, right? You see it's flat, 2D, it's cardboard cutout background, but it worked. I think it was fine for this shot. And you can be the judge. Feel free to critique the work. Let me know what you think, obviously, as well. But I was pretty happy with it. And again, I had to allow myself to not worry too much about it looking good, or my sense of it looking good and refined, and just kind of carry that through with the inks. Now, when working digitally, there's so many ways to edit your work. It really is the best way to practice doing this. I mean, you should practice whatever you do digitally, traditionally, and vice versa. But digitally, there's so many tools, right? You have liquify, you have transformation tools. You can turn any pen into an eraser. So all those little whiteout effects that you see are really easy. You've got stippling brushes, and the list goes on with digital tools of what you can really achieve. So in that regard, I mean, you really can just jump through some of these steps. Like you see with the Spidey logo, I was struggling with it, and then I just blocked it in
almost like I painted in the shapes first and then drew over top of them. Now that's something I wouldn't have done traditionally. It was just it wasn't working out the way I was drawing it, and I thought maybe if I do it this way, it'll work, and it did. So sometimes you just have to kind of rethink and take a new approach to what you're doing, because you got to remember, digital is so new. There's all these options in front of you. You just have to be creative in the way that you use them. You could definitely stumble upon a new way of doing something, like how I'm struggling with Spidey's webs, and I keep trying it a different way until I get it. They still ended up being a little bit crooked. Please forgive me for that. Those freaking webs are hard. But again, there's so many tools in front of you with digital that you got to keep an open mind, and you might figure out a new process. That's the whole point, really. Like, I look at it like this. You want to use digital tools traditionally in a way that resembles traditional art, because we have a basis of knowledge with that, right? Years and years and years of people doing traditional art. So you want to first make them work similarly to the way that you would create traditionally. It just makes sense. Lots of good knowledge to pull into that. But then you also have to remember that these tools are still very new, and that you might just reinvent the wheel in a sense. You might come up with a better way to do things. You should come up with a better way to do things. But again, I feel like jumping to inks a bit sooner is more conducive with digital inking. And you also notice probably at this stage, I'm going back now and adding more rendering. So I even started to jump into color sooner than I wasn't even done with the inks yet. So that's probably, I don't know if that's like pro or con, but you just kind of get this overlap effect. You realize that you can, move into this area, and then you can kind of back check the work. You can look at it in retrospect and go, did I really need that rendering? Because with the color, like I mentioned about the smoke coming out of the chimney, once I added the color, I didn't feel like it needed that rendering. I didn't go back and add all that little cross hatching that in the black and white stage I felt like it needed. So again, I think this is a really fun experiment. You'll see me doing more of this. I really got to get faster at this stuff. I don't know what a piece like this should have taken. I'm not a pro artist. They might look at that and go, dude, that should have been knocked out in 4 hours. I don't know. All I could tell you is I have an extreme amount of respect for people that hammer out a monthly title. My hat is off to you, gentlemen and ladies. It's an amazing feat. But it's always fun to try. I hope you enjoyed this piece and enjoy this channel. More content is on the way very soon. So as always, keep drawing, keep having fun, and bye for now.